Anthrax certainly has so many people on edge these days, but how much do we really know about the disease? We're joined this morning by Dr. Brian McDonough, Clinical Associate Professor at Temple University School of Medicine. Doctor, thanks for coming in. We've heard just over the weekend of more anthrax cases turning up potentially, or more anthrax potentially being found in different buildings. Is it possible that one letter was the source of all this trouble?
It is possible. Theoretically, it could just be one letter that's doing it. It could be multiple. The reason I say it could be one letter, if you think about anthrax, basically to cause trouble, you need a 5-micron spore, or a number of them. The typical letter has about an opening of 100 microns. So in other words, the anthrax could seep out of there, and cause problems. So theoretically, one could. The odds are there's probably some others.
Right. And, you know, we just had a postal union head on our air speaking with one of our reporters saying, why don't you close the postal buildings? And, of course, it's going to be a battle between the unions and other people. But, I mean, what's your medical opinion? Are those buildings safe?
Well, one of the things you have to realize, Bridget, is these buildings, this is the first time they've been through this. They're trying to evaluate this on a case-by-case basis. I think what you need to do is test those buildings and to test them aggressively and find out if there's problems, and also treat and test the people who are exposed to it. That's what they're trying to do. Of course, you run into a problem when you're worrying about 10 days of treatment versus 40 days of treatment, which medication, and they're working through that now, too.
Yeah, and I mean, to test the buildings, I guess you have to close them, then that slows down the delivery of the mail.
Right, and yet I think most people, hopefully, they'll be understanding of that. You know, in these times, what we need to do is slow that down if we can to try to protect the people involved.
And the more we hear about anthrax maybe still being present in different mail processing buildings, I think a lot of us wonder, well, does that mean that if a letter came to my home from one of those buildings, could I get it?
Well, here's what I'm recommending to my patients. What I'm saying is this. I would have one person designated to open the mail at home. Not be overly concerned about it, but just open the mail outside and then take what you want inside and then wash your hands. Whether or not you want to wear gloves or something, you can take it to whatever level. But even in the worst case scenario, if you're at home and you open it at home and you'll get the cutaneous form of anthrax, you won't get the inhalation form, and that's in the rare chance there could be a problem. Are
you telling your patients to keep their kids away from opening the mail?
I'm telling them not to be overly concerned if their child runs out and, you know, gets a copy of American Girl magazine that they want to look at. But what I'm saying is, if you can, try to limit the exposures just out of common sense. Much like on Halloween, you can let the children go out, but you want to go over the candy and look at it. Don't be overly concerned, but be logical.
Yeah, you raise a good point. I think a lot of people might be a little bit skittish about sending their kids out on Halloween. Mine's so young that she's just going to be holding my hand going to a few.
Thank you all.
Taking you live now to President Bush. He's speaking at the State Department.